Hi, welcome to Muckman Movies. I've been away a while. I've had a cold, so I've not made a video for a couple of weeks. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to take up another challenge, this time by the Rad Pack. And it's the 9 films that scared you the most. I could give you a whole heap of films to choose from, but I thought I'd choose some films that haven't been mentioned yet, and some obvious favourites that scared me. I was wrongly introduced as a kid. So yeah, I've got 9 here. Well, I've got 10. I'm cheating a little bit, but I've got 9 here to go through, and I'm going to work my way back. So I'm going to start with the newest film first. And even though I'm an adult, this film absolutely scared the hell out of me during lockdown. It came out during lockdown. It was filmed during lockdown. It just brilliantly picked up on all what we were going through at the time. And that film was Host. There you go. And this is a film about 6 friends who hire a medium and hold a seance over Zoom. And one of them foolishly does a practical joke which angers the entity or the demon or whatever you like to call it. It angers the demon, and then the demon decides to take revenge on the 6 people that were holding the seance. There's some scenes in this that sent shivers up my spine. It was absolutely scary as hell. Just the atmosphere, everything's pretty much in the dark, using like mobile cameras and lighting, so you never knew where this demon was gonna come from out of the shadows. Absolute scared the hell out of me. It's probably the scariest film I've seen for a good 5-10 years. Well, for 10 years, because the next film's about 10 years old. So yeah, The Host, that scared me as an adult. Number 8 on my list is you'll notice there's a theme running through all these films. Generally, I'm scared. It scares me watching supernatural films, like demonic films, possession films. Slasher films don't scare me that much. Gore, nah. Supernatural films are the ones that scare me the most, and this is like one of the best supernatural films out there, and that is The Conjuring. A family move into this old house, and like a supernatural force takes possession of the mother, but she's trying to look after the children. And oh my god, there's so many spine-tingling scenes in this. Scared the hell out of me. And if I am always in the mood for a good scare, I'll always go back to this, and it still scares me on repeat viewings. So yeah, The Conjuring is my number 8 spot, takes my number 8 spot. Right, what takes my number 7 spot? I'm cheating a little bit, but if you watch them back to back, it just makes perfect sense that this is one movie split between 2 films, much like your Lord of the Ring films. So my number 7 spot is a foreign Spanish horror called REC. Now, this is insanely intense, and it's terrifying. You've got a residential block full of people. They've been quarantined. They're not allowed to leave the apartment due to spreading this zombie infection, and it's all shot using video cameras, handheld video cameras. So what you find is like you feel like you're in there with them, and it's so intense. It's scary as hell. Um, there was a American remake in Quarantine, but this for me is far superior. But then straight off the back of Wreck, there's Wreck 2. Now, the first film, you think it's all about zombies, and there's a spoiler here coming up. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, if you've not seen these films, fast forward a little bit. But spoiler alert, Wreck 2 takes the whole zombie theme in a totally different direction, and it transpires that it's a demonic possession of the people in there, and there's some creepy old grotesque woman. Oh my god, she's so scary. But like, she's basically possessing the people inside the building, and one of the people that goes in there, they think is just somebody from the authority. It turns out that he's a priest who's gone there to exorcise the demon. And I absolutely love how they took the traditional zombie film into a totally different direction. So that's my number 7 spot, Wreck and Wreck 2, because if you watch them back to back, it's one film. It's number 2 starts off exactly where number 1 finishes. So that for me is classed as one film. My number 6 spot is a film from Thailand, I think, and it's by the Pang brothers. When I saw this in my 20s, I think, it scared the bejesus out of me. It's one of the scariest supernatural films I've ever seen, and it's The Eye. Now, Hollywood made a remake, which I refuse to watch. I've never seen the remake, because this cannot be improved. So there's no point me watching the remake. And it's about a young female adult. She's just had eye transplant in both eyes, and she starts to get visions, experience visions, and like seeing disturbing things through her new eyes. So she decides to go and investigate where these eyes came from, and she ends up in this village and finds out that the eyes that came from the woman who donated them, obviously after her death, she lived a life of misery, and with that misery she can now start to see the dead and really disturbing things. And there's one scene in particular where she's got a new sight back. She starts to take calligraphy lessons, and this scene out of the whole film absolutely scares the hell out of me. Sends all my hairs on my arms standing upright. She's taken this calligraphy lesson, and genius editing and camera position by the Pang brothers. This demon from the top left corner of the room just comes flying down towards her, and it's the sound design. I'm getting shivers up my spine now thinking about it. It's scary as hell. If you've not seen this, get it watched. It's brilliant. Now, staying in Asia, I'm moving over to Japan. Now, a lot of people choose Ringu, so I thought I wouldn't put that in my list because quite a lot of people will choose it. Ringu is a terrifying film, so if you've not seen that, get it watched. But this film, for me, is scarier than Ringu, and that is Ju-On, The Grudge. Now, this is the original again, not the Hollywood remake. I refuse to watch that because can't be beat. This cannot be beaten for scares. It's all set within this creepy residential house. It's a little bit run down. People going in there almost never come out. because it's pretty much haunted with, I think there's 2 or 3 ghosts in there, but it's the mother that scares the hell out of me as she crawls down those stairs, making that guttural noise. Oh my god, it scares the hell out of me every time. The Ju-on, The Grudge. So at my number 4 spot, none of these are in any particular order, but it's always good to have a countdown. My number 4 spot is another haunted house film with a great cast: Oliver Reed, Bette Davis, Karen Black. Great cast. And I saw this far too young, and there's a brooding and foreboding quality to this film, and it all climaxes with a terrifying ending where the family are trying to escape the house. That scene in particular has stuck with me, and all this is from the film Burnt Offerings by Dan Curtis. It's got so much atmosphere, and there's just an ominous sense of foreboding all the way through it. Oliver Reed and Bette Davis famously really didn't get on in this film, which might actually add to the atmosphere of the whole haunted house genre. But yeah, basically a family hire this summer house. They get a good deal for the whole of the summer. They can't believe the luck. But once they get in there, things don't seem right. And it's just a scary, creepy, unsettling, supernatural haunted house horror, with one of the best horror climaxes that'll scare the bejesus out of you. One of the best climaxes to a horror film ever. And I shouldn't have watched this when I was that young. I can't remember how old I was, but this came out in 1976. So that puts me at 3. But I think I must have been about maybe 8 or 9 when I first saw this. So yeah, Burnt Offerings, scary as hell. So my number 3 spot is another demonic, satanic, supernatural horror, and that is The Omen. Now, again, I saw this when I was far too young. I shouldn't have really been able to watch it. Somehow my parents let me watch all sorts of things, which will bring me to my last 2 as well. Excuse me, I've still got the remnants of a cold. But yeah, The Omen, the original Omen, with Gregory Peck, Lee Remick, David Warner, with that infamous death scene. That scared the hell out of me. Yeah, The Omen by Richard Donner, who'd just made Superman, I think. Did he make Superman before this or after? Anyway, Richard Donner of Lethal Weapon and Superman fame. He made one of the best horrors of all time. The little kid in it, I can't remember his name. God, he's so scary. When he turns to the camera and he's looking right into your soul, is so unnerving, and again sends the shivers up your spine and your hairs stand on end. And some of the kills are terrifying. There's the priest kill, and obviously the David Warner's photographer. That goes down as one of the best kills in horror of all time for me. Yeah, so number 3 is The Omen. So my number 2 spot it's only a 15, but it's one of the scariest films of all time, in my opinion. And this isn't a supernatural film. It's a science fiction horror. And I saw this when I was far too young again. And there's some standout horrific scenes. It's got an amazing cast of Donald Sutherland, Brooke Adams, Jeff Goldblum, you know what it is now, Veronica Cartwright, Leonard Nimoy. It's just an unnerving, paranoid, much along the lines of The Thing with paranoia. It's paranoia everywhere. You don't know who to trust. And that is Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the remake in 1978 by Philip Kaufman. God, when I was young, in my early teens, I saw this. And there's a lot of scary scenes, like when people are being like cloned by the flowers, by the alien flowers. There's lots of scary scenes like that, but there's two scenes in particular, and another spoiler alert, just in case you've not seen this and you don't want any spoilers. So spoiler alert coming up. There's two scenes in particular. There's one where they're trying to blend into the crowd, and they're walking through the crowd, basically acting like a cloned version of themselves, and they come across this homeless man who's been cloned, and this homeless man had a dog, basically, and he was cloned with his dog. So this homeless man comes running up to them. Actually, it's not the homeless man. The dog comes running up to them with the homeless man's face. So the dog and the homeless man have been merged as one. My God, that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid. Oh my God. But the final scene is the nail in the coffin in terms of scares. You've got one survivor, and she thinks one of her other friends has survived and he's just acting. And she goes up to him, and he turns round and does this. Well, I didn't do it justice, but her scream at the end sends shivers up me every time, and again, I'm getting shivers right now talking about it. So this, for me, is one of the scariest science fiction horrors of all time, Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Right, my number one, my last film, it's an obvious choice. It's it's considered the scariest horror of all time. But I've got a story behind this, and I was brought up in the 70s. My mum and dad, they used to go around to their friend's house, and they'd got a lot of VHS films that had been banned, or they'd recorded off the TV, but they got a couple of banned ones, and this film was banned in the 70s and early 80s. Rightly or wrongly, I disagree that it should be banned. It should be watched by every adult, basically, if they want a scare. But my mum and dad used to take us to their friend's house, and we'd take it in turns to choose a film to watch. And my mum and dad would always choose this Exorcist film that I'd never heard of. Right. It's an 18. I'm about 8 or 9. My sister's 6 or 7. And we sat there watching it and gradually getting more terrified. So that in the end, we've got cushions over our heads, so we couldn't see what was going on. But that actually probably made things worse, because it heightened our hearing, and we could hear all sorts of disturbing music, disturbing effects, sound effects, and then obviously the crucifixion scene. That is pretty disturbing if you think about just listening to that in isolation from the visuals. So it absolutely terrified us as kids. And that night when we went home, there's a scene in the film where Ellen Bernstein goes up into the loft with a candlestick, because she can hear noises in the loft. So when we went home, At the top of our landing, at the top of the stairs, we've got a little trapdoor, if you like, into our loft. So we would skirt around it, like with our backs against the wall, because we were petrified. We thought the demon, Satan, whatever he, what is he? Pazazu. We thought he was up in our loft, so we would skirt around the wall to bed, and we'd have to go to sleep with lights on for days on end. It's pretty bad parenting when you look back at it. We should not have been subjected to The Exorcist at that age. But the fact is, that film has stuck with me through my whole life, if you like. It's one of the reasons why I got into film. Not the whole reason, obviously, but it's one of the reasons, because I was introduced to films like this, classics, brilliant direction, brilliant film score, great performances. Everything about that film is a 5 out of 5 from me. Anyone who gives it less, they shouldn't be watching film, basically. It's a brilliant, scary. It's the scariest film. It still scares me now. I never understood why people were laughing when it was re-released for one of its anniversaries. It was re-released in the cinemas. People were laughing in the cinemas. I never got that. I've always found it scary as hell. So yeah, that's my number 1 spot, The Exorcist. So those are my 9 choices. Thanks for the Rad Pack for setting this community challenge during the spooky season. I will be putting another video of my top 25 horror films of all time. I'll be putting another video up shortly. It won't be today, but a few days down the line I'll be putting that up. So if you enjoyed what you saw, if you enjoyed my choices, give me a like and subscribe to my channel. I've not got many subscribers yet, so it'd be really great if I could get a few more subscribers from this video. So good to speak to you. Enjoy your horror marathons, whichever marathon and challenge you've chosen. I've gone with the Hooptober challenge, but there's lots of other challenges out there during the spooky season. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.